So we can conclude our lectures by talking something on weed control that is integrated with management. Now, when we talk about integrated weed management, we are trying to combine various methods of weed control so as to reduce weed growth, spread of weeds, reduce weed seed bank size. The integrated weed management could sustain crop yields, but our main aim is just to keep the weed population below the weed control threshold. Once we do that, then we know that our crops are going to be safe. We do have a range of weed control methods which we can use depending with the farming circumstances. Number one is hand-hoe weeding, which is common. Land preparation using moldboard plows and disc harrows. These can remove weeds, but sometimes we go for reduced tillage where we don't need to use all of these implements. There's fast shallow cultivation techniques where we can use harrows and millipede. Cultivation, ox cultivation using tiny cultivators can be done under smallholder conditions. Even the ox pull, the moldboard, and the ridgers. Herbicides, we do have a range of herbicides to choose from, depending on the weeds which are prevalent on the farm and the cost of that herbicide. Pre-plant incorporated herbicides, we've got trifluralin and EPTC. I'm not sure whether these are being used by farmers. Then pre-emergence herbicides, for example, atrazine and metolachlor, but we do have a lot under pre-emergence herbicides. These happens to be old herbicide combinations. Post-emergence, we have got glyphosate, gramoxone, Stellar, nicosulfuron, basagran, and fusilate. What we are saying is that we do have an option of herbicides, and the choice depends on the crop and what is present in terms of weeds on the farm. We can also have cultural methods. In fact, worldwide, there's this movement towards less chemicals. So we can manage time of planting, plant populations, intercropping, crop rotations, cattle manure and fertilizer application, crop genotypes, and conservation agriculture. So some of these systems could minimize weeds. This is hand hoeing or weeding, which is common. But you can see the maize is already tasseling, which could be the wrong time of weeding. Weeding may require a lot of people to do it timely. It is the common method of weed control. You use hand hoes to remove weeds. It's time consuming. There could be labor bottlenecks in November and December, and this can lead to delayed weeding because there are so many agricultural activities which require human labor. It could be plowing and so on, and planting. It has to be combined with the other methods. This hand hoeing needs other methods to reduce the weed burden. This is the mold body plow, which can be used to remove weeds. Disc plow, ox plow, which is common with farmers. This kind of ox plow is rare, but it's also available. Tractor plowing operation, burying the trash, typical plowing, using using animal draft power, sometimes using 4 animals to do it. Here the farmer is plowing and planting at the same time, but sometimes the seed may be deeply buried in such a way that you get a reduced stand. This is the disc harrow. Now during land preparation, weeds are removed. This operation buries weed seeds which could become dormant. Weed seeds which are brought to the soil surface can break dormancy and form new weed seedlings. So this type of operation can actually create other problems. Use of spike tooth harrows after planting but before crop emergence is also effective in controlling weeds without damaging the crops. This can also reduce labor required for weeding, but most farmers in smallholder farming areas may not want to use the harrows or the spike tooth harrow for this kind of work because they think they may damage their crop. But if they do it, they can actually reduce a lot of labor for weeding. First shallow cultivation can remove the first flush of weeds, and it is the first flush of weeds which are more competitive than subsequent flushes. So if the farmers can take advantage of the first shallow cultivation, it can reduce the hand weeding burden. But this may not be effective in wet soils. Not also effective against big weeds, and we can actually use it to incorporate herbicides. This is the spike tooth harrow. This is the tractor drawn spike tooth harrow, animal drawn spike tooth harrow, another animal drawn spike tooth harrow. But as I have said, it appears smallholder farmers are not taking advantage of these implements to reduce labor requirement for weeding. This is the millipede or rotary cultivator. This is tractor drawn. It can remove weed seedlings using those knives which rotate. again rotary cultivator. Post-emergence cultivations, an ox cultivator which is fitted with 5 tines can be used to remove weeds which are between row weeds, but it may damage the crop if it exceeds 60 centimeters. The in-row weeds need to be removed by supportive hand weeding, so the ox cultivator can reduce the hand weeding labor. So this is the field where inter-row cultivation has been done. These are the ox cultivators with the tines, dark foot tine at the back of the cultivator. These are other tines. The tractor drawn tine, which is used for removing weeds. Tractor drawn tine cultivator, which is targeted to small areas. We can also use mold body plows to remove weeds. We use it with the board attached, and it can require 2 passes per row. The advantage is that it can create ridges which could be tied or blocked to create moisture conservation techniques. It can also reduce labor requirement, but the fact that it can create ridges and we can conserve moisture is a good advantage. But some farmers remove the board, or what we call dish. If you do that, you require 4 passes to remove the between row weeds, and you can create dry soil profiles and cause soil moisture stress, which is a disadvantage. There are also ridges which are dedicated to making ridges and also removing weeds. This can also reduce labor for hand weeding. Okay, the reason why that plow is in a slanting position is that most farmers remove the hitch assembly in front of that plow, and as a result it becomes very difficult to control. These are some of the disadvantages. So if you try to use it when the crop has emerged, you can damage a lot of crops. This is the ridger, tractor drawn. Of course, there are a lot of herbicides which are available, which can be combined with mechanical methods. You can do pre-emergence sprays. You need a knapsack sprayer, or you may need a boom sprayer. So we've got herbicides such as metallachlor and atrazine, which should be targeted to the maize crop. They can release labor, but there are a number of herbicides which are now available. So there are options to use band application techniques, where you apply half the recommended dose along the crop rows. The between row weeds could be removed by ox cultivators or mechanical means. Cultural methods, time of planting. early planting is known to increase crop yields, but it could expose the crops to the first flush of weeds, which are highly competitive. This could be combined with the use of harrows. They are effective in removing the first flush of weeds. So if you are doing early planting, you should take advantage of the spike tooth harrow to lessen the weed density. Intercropping can actually reduce weed density. This is growing of maize and cowpeas in the same field to reduce weed populations. We are also currently testing this in Murewa and Mutoko across 3 agroecological zones. Mashingai in 2004 reported that maize and pumpkins could reduce weed biomass. So if you can reduce weed biomass or weed density, it means the weed control threshold may not be reached. This is intercropping cowpeas with maize. Crop rotations, they are likely to reduce weed populations because some crops are allelopathic, e.g. sorghum, pearl millet, and cowpeas. This is pearl millet, sorghum, cover crops growing velvet bean in fallow areas may increase nitrogen and decrease weeds. I don't know whether we can encourage farmers to grow velvet bean. It may be used by livestock, but probably their priorities is to produce food first. Then they can always do this later. This is velvet bean. Cattle manure and fertilizers, we can do spot application as opposed to blanket application. This may reduce weed infestation. Cattle manure is also associated with Leucine indica and Amaranthus hybridus. Therefore, there is need to do curing of manure so that we can kill the weed seeds which are carried by the manure. So you put your manure outside the cattle pen, leave them for a while. The temperature will be increasing inside that manure heap and it can kill the weeds. Crop genotypes. There are some crop genotypes, for example, sorghum, sunflower, and cowpeas, which are allelopathic. We need to know these genotypes so that we can plant them so as to reduce the weed pressure. Other genotypes could simply tolerate weed competition. How we can know it probably is by doing these replacement series experiments. That is where they come in. In conservation agriculture, we can make sure that mulching is applied, because mulching can reduce weeds through allelopathy and altering light quality, which reduce weed seedling emergence. So CA has increased or decreased weed seedling emergence, but this mulching factor is critical in in Fumvrudza or conservation agriculture, in Twasa, whatever you want to call it. It's a smart climate, technique which can conserve moisture and make yields stable, but weeds can disrupt this system. So we've got these are maize residues which are being used as mulch. This was in Gokwe. So there are opportunities for integrated weed management, plowing during land preparation, planting weed tolerant genotypes, apply fertilizers and cattle manure, harrowing after planting but before emergence, and hoeing or bend application of herbicides, ox cultivation or ox plowing, intercropping, and crop rotations. But these methods need to be developed for each region or each farming area. The idea is to reduce weed density and also to reduce the number of chemicals. You can read some of these papers on integrated weed management if you want to understand it more. If you've got time, you can read this thesis. It talks about improving weed management and crop productivity in Zimbabwe. Another paper. So this is it.